Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Sagebrush Happy Hour Journal entry for September 15th, 2025. So it's been a fun and exciting weekend, I guess. On Friday, Annie's sisters and our daughter came down for a visit, and they stayed at the Yurt at New Mexico Glamping Teepees.com, our glamping operation out by Tres Piedras. And so they were going to stay in the yurt, and we've got a yurt and 3 teepees out there that Deb and Gil operate. And so Annie and I went over there a little bit earlier to make sure that everything was set up. We were bringing, it's a glamping kind of situation where all you have to really bring is food and beverages, and then they take care of pretty much everything else: firewood and water and ice and that sort of thing. And so I've been helping them with that over the last couple of years. So anyway, this is the first time we've been a guest, and I was going to be the girls staying at the yurt, and I was going to stay back here at home so they could have kind of a girls' weekend. And so, unfortunately, Friday was a forecast for rain all day and all night, and the rain didn't move in until the exact moment that they arrived. So at 4:30 in the afternoon, the girls got down there, and it was rain. I mean, like sideways blowing rain, soaking, even though, I had on rain gear and an umbrella, and of course the umbrella would pop, so that it wouldn't get there. And so Annie's sisters didn't, one of Annie's sisters and her daughter didn't have the rain gear in the cab of the truck. They had it back in the bed and packed away. And of course, so we had to run them in there. And then the other sister had her rain gear. And so then we kind of had to unpack the truck in this torrential downpour and get everything inside the yurt, and they brought their dogs, and we had our dog there, and so 3 small dogs and three women and Annie, and so I was going to grill some salmon and grill potatoes and salmon and squash for dinner for everybody. And of course, it was really, really raining out there, and so I couldn't basically use the outside grill. And so a little later, about 6, 7 o'clock, rain still hadn't let up, and so I decided that they had an inside propane stove and grill that was originally an outdoor kitchen that I'd actually sold to Deb and Gil for using in the yurt. And the yurt is quite big. It's 32 feet in diameter, and so it's probably, the ceiling height on it is probably 12, 14 feet. And so had to cook the salmon inside, and of course that really smoked up the place. And so it was like walking through a fog with the smoke from cooking, and then of course all the firewood was wet, and the lighter fluid that they'd given us to light the fire with was also empty. And so we got some lighter fluid, and then was able to get the fire started anyway, and get some dry wood, and then get kind of warming up, and of course I was soaked. My pants were completely soaked, and I had a rain jacket, but and hat, but I didn't have but my pants were soaked. So anyway, ended up cooking and then Deb and Gil came over for dinner, and they brought the lighter fluid and some squash to cook up, and so they were 2 additional guests. So we had 4 plus me plus 2, so 7, and then we had another guest who was staying in a teepee down there, and of course those teepees, even though we try to make them as waterproof as possible, they still kind of really drip when it's raining. And so we had one of the guests, solo guest from one of the other teepees, come over and join us, and so. Fortunately, I had 8 pieces of salmon, and we had 8 guests, and so anyway, so cooked up the salmon dinner, and then we had cheesecake for dessert, and it was still raining out there, and so after we had chatted for a while, I decided packed up Petey, and I went home, which is basically 25 miles away. So, the yurt is actually 25 miles that direction. And so anyway, so we got back down, and then next morning, I get a call, they called. And so we actually have via Starlink, we've got the Wi-Fi set up at the yurt, and so you can use Wi-Fi calling, and even though we don't have cell service. And so anyway, Annie called me in the morning and said, where's that coffee, the kettle in the French press for making coffee? And I said, I don't know exactly where it was. And it turns out that Deb had taken it up to the ranch house, and so they were without coffee first thing in the morning, and all the wood was wet, and they weren't able to start a fire. And so they were having a little bit of an adventure, and so Deb got them the French press and the coffee pot, and then I decided to go ahead and run over there, and I brought them some dry firewood and some fat wood and some newspaper to start the fire, and so that they would get the fire going, and a couple other little sundries that they were that they had forgotten or were missing. And so got them all situated, and they had it rained pretty much the whole day Saturday, and then fortunately, and then Saturday night, they met me at the Chili Line Depot, which is in Tres Piedras, which is about 8 miles away from the yurt. And so they came over to join us for dinner, but they had to leave 2 of the sisters behind to mind the dogs, and so that we packed up some pie and some food, and then went back over to the yurt and got everybody fed, and then Petey and I headed home again. And so anyway, and then Sunday they had a good day. It finally got sunny out, and they were able to hike around the property and pet the horses, and avoid the cow pies, and they had a generally great time. And then this morning we got them all packed up and headed back to Denver, and then we'll go up and visit them in Parker, which is a suburb of Denver, in a couple weeks. So it was nice to see everybody, and they all had a good time, and so that's what's happening on the Mesa today. Cheers, everybody.